What's going on, awesome people? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because have you ever started a live and you realize that you forgot to go to the bathroom and now you have to suffer for like an hour? Well, that's this guy right now. I was so excited to start this program. I forgot to do that one little task, but it is what it is. So my pain, you're going to have to feel it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday, March 8th, 2023. It is International Women's Day. And I'll go ahead and begin by, I don't know if this is something that you like wish happy Women's Day, but I do want to acknowledge and recognize and honor the incredible women out there, no matter where you are in the world. But I would be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to all the Iranian women, especially all the Iranian women that have been fighting for freedom in Iran, especially all the young girls that have been fighting for freedom in Iran. And of course, honoring the Iranian women that have lost their life for freedom in Iran. So it's a very bittersweet type of day to celebrate this International Women's Day, knowing what the catalyst of this revolution has been all about. It's been Mahsa Jina Amini, how it's the first woman-led revolution that Iran is going through right now. So power to all the women, power to all the mothers out there, power to all the freedom fighters, and power to all the men that lost their life standing next to all these incredible women and supporting them. They're all missed today. They're all missed. There's a lot of mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers that are missing that special individual right now that they lost in this revolution, that we should not have lost, that they should have been with us right now and just being able to celebrate this day and become stronger. So, like I said, it's a tough day. I don't have all the right words for it, but it is going to be a great program. I'm so grateful to be working with so many incredible women that are countdown producers. So I want to actually start off by just recognizing the awesome ladies that have made this countdown possible and how this is our 10th episode. In no particular order, we have Paris Mansouri, who's going to be starting off the segment shortly, as she always provides the most amazing and factual news and updates about what's happening in Iran. So shout out to Paris. We got Negin Derakhshani, we have Mona Nagvi, we have Sare Kazemi, we have Sharmina, we have Shiva Jahani, Shiva Saber, who's handling the social media right now, and we also have Mona Haghighi, who's going to be our guest later today. So, and also I want to give a shout out to Aida Monfared. In many ways, she's been behind the scenes helping as a producer. And I want to give a shout out to all the amazing women that watch our program on a weekly basis. There's a lot of familiar faces that we see, and that means a lot. As a little program that is just trying to get the word out, seeing individuals that are coming week after week and joining and commenting and sharing and spreading the word about what we're doing, you really mean so much to us. So thank you so much for being believers of Countdown. Thank you for allowing us to do this program every week. It gives us an opportunity to do something as part of this revolution. So just know that by you watching, by you commenting, you are the source of energy that we need. Negin, I gave a shout out to Sare Khabalu Kazemi. I gave her a shout out. I never forget Sare. Maybe you logged in late, you know. All right, so it's going to be a great program in addition to the lovely Paris and also Mona Haghighi, who's going to be giving us the backstory about International Women's Day. There's some great historical nuggets that she's going to share. We got the stress doctor, Dr. Sam Rasoul, who's going to be joining us. He's going to be talking about, well, stress eating. And our special guest tonight is going to be Aava Dekordi. And Aava has been amazing. Like for the last 6 months, she's also one of those individuals that I kind of like stumbled upon when the revolution began. And, she's been going 120 miles per hour since the very beginning. So I'm glad that we finally were able to connect. And she's gracing us with her virtual presence here later this evening. And we're going to talk about women and their rights as Baha'is. She herself is a Baha'i Iranian-American. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. So it's going to be great. But in the meantime, thank you again for joining. It's going to be a great program. Please keep the chat going. Dog, hot. You know, if you have questions, holler. And let's just get this virtual party started. It's time to welcome the wonderful, the fabulous from the other beautiful French city of Montreal. In 3, 2, 1. There she is. Hello.
Greetings.
Good evening, Paris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you so much for being a part of this special program this evening, International Women's Day. So I was having difficulty figuring out, like, do you say Happy International Women's Day? You know, like, and, you know, given what's going on, I know it's not even a happy thing, but I'm so grateful to have an incredible Iranian woman as a dear friend who's spending so much of her time making Countdown happen. So good evening, lovely Paris.
Good evening. And I have to say kudos to you. Like, we're highlighting women, but honestly, I have not been surrounded by Iranian women like my whole life. I have friends of different nationalities, but it's thanks to you that I have an incredible network of Iranian women now. And it's truly hats off to you for being a uniter in the truest meaning. And I now count some really brilliant, incredible women in my circle of trust and of individuals who understand. And it's very hard to come by. And there's so much gratitude to you for doing that for us.
It's my pleasure. It's been beautiful, honestly, seeing so many Iranian women uplifting each other, and just the love, it's genuine too, you know, it's a genuine love. It's a sisterhood, brotherhood. That's why I love what we got going on. And so we keep the fight together with a lot of love too, you know. So let's jump right to it.
Absolutely.
We are on day 173. It's insane to think that it's been half a year that we've been really consuming our life with what's going on. The poisoning at the girls' school, it's something that's still happening across Iran. What's the latest on that front?
So we are seeing leaks not only at girls' school, but in subways and dormitories. We've been hearing about boys' schools as well. So I'm looking to the side, I'm looking at my notes. According to DW, the poisonings have been actually happening since November 2022, and they've affected more than 5,000 students. According to their numbers, we heard over 1,000, but DW is reporting 5,000 at some 230 schools in 25 of Iran's 31 provinces. Those are numbers that are, you know, astronomical, and, you know, the international silence on this is really deafening and incomprehensible. There have been protests in front of the education boards by teachers and by parents as well. We know that parents have been getting arrested for protesting and for demanding answers onto why this is happening to their children. The Islamic Republic says that they have arrested several individuals. 6 apparently have been arrested in different provinces, according to the Islamic regime. They say they're conducting a full investigation, and the Interior Minister has accused some of those arrested by saying, quote, that they have ties to foreign-based dissident media, as well as having participated in recent nationwide protests.
Yeah, it's always challenging to find the perpetrators when you are the perpetrator. So
great way to put it.
Yeah. All right. So let's there was reports about girls being shown adult content in school. We held off on covering this until we were able to confirm it, right? So did this really happen? What's the story behind this horrendous finding?
Just really incomprehensible. Just think about it. Government officials going into children's schools, high schools, and showing them adult content to scare them. Like, how likely is that a government entity is doing that? So that's why we really wanted to be sure. And I looked into it, and Iran Wire has confirmed that this did indeed happen back in November in Bandar Mahsha, which is in Iran's southwest. The report claims that girls in grade 10, 11, and 12 were rounded up into rooms and shown adult content, which included assault, which included animals. And this happened after these girls protested at their schools. So Iran Wire sources a journalist named Nejat Bahrami, who says this also happened at 3 schools in Tehran. And according to this report, they're doing this to scare girls from participating in protests.
You know, I think that if there's one thing that will get people hopefully on the streets and saying enough is enough is when you mess with your children, you know? And so like, I just hope that the parents, they gather the strength to be able to unify and figure out how to swarm this country, because this is, to me, the worst of the worst that can happen, you know? And so I'm remaining optimistic that this will be truly the straw that breaks the camel's back. So let's continue. We got a recent story about 2 Iranian Canadians who are missing in Iran. How come we're just hearing about this? Actually, I saw the whole video interview that Samira Moeddin posted today. I shared it as well. I hadn't heard about this at all. So what's the situation with
I
that?
heard about it yesterday, and when I heard about it, it had just been 4 hours old. I shared it on my social media, and I literally spent over an hour on Google and on different networks trying to see if we missed something. And there literally has been zero coverage of this story, and it's absolutely shocking, especially as an Iranian Canadian. It's highly concerning. So here's the deal. Her name is Behnoush. She's 35 years old. Her and her partner were going to Iran, and they completely disappeared. Her father, Amir Bahraminiaz, says they disappeared in November 2001. He says that they traveled to Iran previously to visit family, and nothing had happened. So they're completely shocked. Guys, she's been missing for a year and a half, and we have heard nothing. She is Iranian Canadian, like full-fledged Canadian. She's been living here since 2013. It's absolutely incomprehensible. Her family believes that she's missing and she's been detained. According to the media outlet that covered this, it's Global News. It's a respected news outlet here in Canada. They're the ones covering this story. They got the exclusive, and they're saying that there's no record of her arrest. There's no charges, but they are citing that 2 sources in Iran are saying that she has been arrested. They're not citing the sources to protect their privacy, but they're saying that they've been arrested on super threats to national security. In the same report, there is an audio of a conversation with representatives from the Canadian government. So Global Affairs Canada is on the record saying that they didn't act after being made aware of Behnoush's disappearance. So I encourage everybody to go watch this video. Again, it's Global News Canada or Global News Vancouver. If you search the name Behnoush or Missing Canadian, it's going to pop up for you. Again, this is unfortunately not widely covered, so it's just one outlet saying it. If you go on my social handle on Twitter, I've posted it there as well. But again, very easily Googleable. And again, hashtag save Behnoush, and let's please get this story out there. It's incomprehensible that this is happening and no one is talking about it.
I'm just very curious. Do you think the situation is that the parents have been trying to get the news out, but they just weren't loud enough, or were they staying quiet so that it doesn't ruin things? Do you have any idea? Do you have any thoughts about that?
I don't want to make assumptions as to why. My understanding is that they had been trying to communicate with the Canadian government for them to take the lead, and they hadn't been getting any answers. So going to the media, I guess I don't know what goes on in the minds of parents. They're doing the best that they can. And if you've watched the videos, the parents are absolutely distraught over this. But what we do know, and what we hear, the audio actually acknowledge that the individual from the government of Canada on the phone saying that they did not follow up. They did not make the follow-up calls.
Yeah, and like the part with her brother being in her room, like touching her bed, just heartbreaking stuff. So definitely go look into it and spread the word about that situation. Nuclear talks, they seem to be continuing.
Yes, so the latest, according to the Financial Times, is that the Islamic regime has agreed to install IAEA cameras at nuclear facilities. So the Financial Times made reference to what the IAEA Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi has said. He was in contact with the president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, and he said that the regime has agreed to reinstall 20 cameras and some equipment that was removed. And basically, this is going to be happening at all the nuclear plants. There's an agreement to restart monitoring as well. The article claims that the efforts of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which is a JCPOA, have been shelved by the EU and the United States. So apparently the conversations to reignite nuclear conversations are stalled, but action like this and Iran showing that it's cooperating, it could mean that the talks are reignited. And if anyone's not familiar with the agreement, essentially if the JCPOA agreement is ratified and if it's signed, essentially a lot of money goes into the coffers of the Islamic regime and pretty much guarantees that they're going to stay in power. Yeah.
Final note, Ahmed Ismailian has stepped down from his role as president and spokesperson of the Association of Families of Flight PS 7-2 victims. He released that video yesterday. What are the details?
So Dushenas, who is a member of the association, he's going to be taking over as spokesperson. They're going to be announcing a new president in the coming months. There's no other word other than that. Hamid Ismailian, though, has always stated that he is not a political individual, you know, that he's a private citizen, and, you know, he's an activist on the specific cause of this, you know, act of terrorism that downed flight PS 752. But you know, for a non-political person, this is actually the most political move to actually go against what they've been saying for months and say that they are stepping down to take on a formal role in this revolution. It's also important to note, if anyone's you know, if you're not Canadian or if you're not following Canadian media very closely, we know that, first of all, in every foreign country, Iranians are advocating very hard to get the IRGC listed in its entirety as a terrorist organization. This is something we're all working very hard towards. But if you follow the news a bit more carefully, you'll see that Hamid Ismailian has actually been advocating for the IRCG not to be listed in its entirety as a terrorist organization, and he was successful in that. There's an interview of him speaking with a Persian news network, and in it he verbally says that he's very happy that the government has listened to the advice and not listed the IRGC as a terrorist organization. So with this movement happening and this individual taking on a more formal role in the revolution, I believe it's very important for individuals to take the responsibility to research and understand who the individuals are who are advocating for Iranians and Iran in this revolution as we move forward.
Did he give a reason of why he does not want IRGC listed?
So the explanation is that there are people in the IRGC who haven't done any harm. So if you list all of the IRGC, even the people who haven't done any harm are going to be harmed.
Updates about, we were behind schedule, so I got to get to it. Updates about protesters and detainees, please.
So there was an individual who became a little more popular. His name is Reza Norouzi. He was arrested last year. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was the gentleman who was in front of the blue burning truck, who was shouting, ranting in public against the Islamic regime and advocating for the Pahlavi dynasty. He's been arrested. He's been in jail for over a year, but recently there's an audio file that came out with him basically saying that he's been severely tortured for 3 days in a row. They're trying to get a confession out of him. And there's a picture of him shackled to hospital beds with, you know, wrappings on his body. It's obvious that he's been tortured. There is a definite concern that he is going to be given the death sentence. So let's please keep an eye on that. Hashtag Reza Norouzi. There's also some Baluch citizens who were violently detained by the IRGC last week, taken to an undisclosed location. And again, we're sharing these names. We fully know there's hundreds, if not thousands of people that are arrested on a weekly basis. We're highlighting the ones that are highlighted to us and that we come across. If there's any you would like to highlight to us, please DM Iman or myself. These Baluch citizens are Zakaria Kahrazehi, there's Mohammad Kuhsari, and Elias Brahoui. So let's please use their hashtags. There's also Jamshid Shamad. He's the 67-year-old Iranian-German software engineer and journalist. He was abducted in Dubai, taken to Iran, suffered through a sham trial, and now has been condemned to death. His daughter's advocating for him. So if you go to to her Instagram account, Free Jamshid Shamad, you'll find his whole story there. But please use Save Shamad as the hashtag to just bring attention to his plight.
Thank you. And in closing, what are the action items this week? What are the hashtags following this week you should be using?
IRGC terrorists and, Save Sharmad, Save Behnush, Tumash Salehi, Saman Yassin. There are names that we add every week. Elnaz Mohammadi, Nilufar Hamidi, who broke the story, and obviously Mahsa Amini and Iran Revolution. And
just save Iran, basically.
All of
so, Paris, even though we're a little behind, tonight's a special program. It's International Women's Day. Who are some special women in your life that you'd like to acknowledge? And before you do that, I want to wish a happy birthday to your mom, I know you're watching, and thank you so much for being such an incredible woman that has raised an incredible young woman in Paris. You're an example of how to be a Shirzan and an incredible Iranian mother. So go ahead, Paris. It's you to give a shout out to any woman that you like.
Honestly, you're gonna get me to cry, but in life I've realized that it's the women who we are closest to, and sometimes the women who we see in our periphery. And it, honestly, and I'm not joking, when you asked me who it would be, it immediately came to mind is the women that I've met through the Uniters. To see other, I've never had, other than like obviously family members, I don't have many Iranian friends, like maybe one or two, and to be surrounded by like these incredible women from all over the world who've accomplished so much. It's been such a privilege to be by their side, and it's just made me want to raise my game and to work 10 times harder. So the women from the Uniters.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure they appreciate it. You always have a final message to our
Yes.
listeners. Let's go on that.
Two quick ones. I'm so sorry. Goldfish are not part of our half scene. Please, if you are preparing your half scene, goldfish have never, are not, they actually go against Zoroastrianism. We're not supposed to torture animals. Do not put your goldfish in your half scene. I will literally at you. I'm not joking. And then number two, our language is called Persian when we're speaking in English. Farsi has Farsi, our language is called Persian. Good night.
Thank you, Paris. We appreciate you. All right, so we're a little bit behind schedule, but we're gonna catch up right now. It's time to welcome one of my favorite women on earth, is Mona Haghighi, a true OG at the Unite and Conquer family. Hi, Mona Jun. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much.
Super grateful to have you. It's been a few weeks since we've had you a part of the episode. You waited for episode number 10 to make it, and appreciate you. So you're going to give us a little bit of a lowdown of the history of International Women's Day. So lay it on us, please.
Yeah, so many believe that officially International Women's Day was acknowledged by the United Nations in the 1970s. However, did you know that the Iranian women were given equal wages and had maternity leave dating all the way back to 2,500 years ago? And I mean, I always knew that Iranian women were leaders and not followers, but just researching this, just confirmed all my beliefs. And so then in 1,400 years ago, Islamic invaders stripped them of their rights and many other rights that they had before that, and when they invaded Iran, and forcing conversion and trying to erase tradition. And so then little by little, eventually they started taking back their rights and were giving their back their rights. And then in 1979, the Islamic Republic took it all away again and made it worse than it's ever been. And
At least.
yes. And so in the 1960s, Iranian women were given right to seek a divorce, and the age of marriage of women went from 9 to 18. And in 1978, 22 women had seats in parliament and over 300 seats in local councils. And 1963, Iranian women were allowed to vote. And in 1971, Switzerland was allowed to vote as Swiss women. And in 1976, Portuguese women were allowed to vote. So you see how advanced Iranian women were, that much more than European countries. And now we're in the middle of a first woman-led revolution by Iranian women, and I just can't be prouder than that I am an Iranian woman. I mean, I'm in awe of their strength and bravery.
So first of all, you're telling me that the Islamic Republic threw us back a couple thousand years. That's part one. That's my takeaway.
Yep.
The second thing is, since now you mentioned it, who are some women that that you would like to acknowledge on this International Women's Day? Who has inspired you? Who are you grateful for?
Okay. Oh my God, there's so many. But so first and foremost, my mom. She's the ultimate Shizan. She raised me to be independent, brave, not need a man for anything, honestly, which I'm very grateful for. And my grandmother, may she rest in peace. I don't want to get emotional again. Every time I come on here, I get emotional. She was always happy, always the life of the party. She showed me that life is not that serious and you can laugh no matter what. And like Paris said, the women in the Uniters, honestly, like, you have gotten me close to the most amazing Iranian women, and I'm so happy to call them my sisters. Yeah, they're just amazing, and it's a friendship for life.
I want to give a shout out to your daughter too, who you raised, an incredibly strong, young girl who's going to be a Shirzad in her own right, because she's the product of an incredible woman who's her mom, So it's all trickled down from your grandmother to your mother to you, and you've instilled all that strength, all that confidence, all that bravery into Isabella, So very grateful for you to give us this little historical element of International Women's Day. Didn't mean to make you emotional, but you made us emotional, so it's all your fault anyways. But,
I'm crying.
Yeah, wash away the tears with some shout out, please, all right, well, thank you so much, Monajo. Appreciate you joining this episode. Any parting words? Did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think we covered everything. Yeah, I don't want to miss anything, but yeah, I think one woman that is not part of my family that I like, she's my hero, that I wanted to acknowledge, is Fatima Seperi. She is the religious human activists that have been condemning the Islamic Republic for years. She's currently in jail. She's gotten an, I think, 18-year sentence for speaking out against the regime. She is completely, fully in chador and is very religious. However, her and her brother have always talked, way before the revolution, talked against the Islamic regime. And she's just my hero, because it shows that you don't have to be non-religious to be against the Islamic regime. They are terrorists. This has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, they can appreciate and respect the religion without wanting to enforce it upon somebody else and pushing it down someone's throat, basically being given the opportunity to choose whatever you want to do.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Monajo. Well, thank you so much for acknowledging Fatima Sepehri, you said? I'm going to have to look into her more. But thank you for the research you did, sharing this with us. Thank you for being an awesome Shirzad as always. Shab Bakhair, Be'omid Azadi. Good night. Take care. Dr. Sam, you're up next, my friend. We're going to wait for Dr. Sam to request to join. He's been too busy commenting. He forgot to request to join. Dr. Sam is a doctor of chiropractic and enzyme nutrition, and he's my chiropractor. I was there earlier today, and he cracked me left and right, and that's why I'm able to stand in front of you right now. It's because of his chiropractic magic hands. I don't know if that's Mona having technical issues getting off. I don't know what you guys are seeing on the screen, but here is Dr. Sam. Better late than never. He wanted to make an Iranian entrance, دکتر ایرانی هستش میخواد که یه ذره اشوه بیاره, so there he is. Is he there? Dr. Sam, testing 1 2 3. Oh, there you go.
There you
go. میخواستی یه ذره ناز بکنی واسه ما.
Yes, I was like, how do I do this? یادم رفته. I'm still in my scrubs. So.
I know. خسته نباشی. Good evening. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again too, my friend.
I know. Always a pleasure. So we're talking about something that I like to do on a daily basis, which is called stress eating. Weak willpower or an evolutionary necessity? That's the topic right now.
Well, the biggest thing I hear all the time, patients or my friends tell me, they're like, if I get stressed out, I got to reach for the cookies or grab the chips. And I'm like, I have such poor willpower, but it's not poor willpower. I talk about stress so much, as you said, the stress doc. And the first thing we have to realize when we're stressed out, whether it's emotional stress, it's chemical stress, or structural stress, the way we sit, the biomechanics strain we put on our bodies, is the first way that the body, basically fights against that is it asks for more nutrition. Well, if you're not giving your body the right nutrients, what's the easiest form of it to get is sugar and saturated fats. So it's going to crave those things because there's such quick energy fixes for itself. So if people say I get really stressed out, or I'm burning the midnight oil, I need chips or cookies or whatever it may be, it's because their body is demanding the nutrition so much. So it's like, don't beat yourself up so much about that. But precursor, make sure you're eating the right nutrients. So if you know it's going to be an exam time, or you got a deadline coming up for your job, or dedication to the family, make sure you got some healthy snacks on the dais.
If we have time, I want you to give some healthy snack ideas, but let me get through a couple questions. So the fact that some have a sweet tooth,
yes,
and some have a salty tooth, is there any significance to that?
Yes, there is. There's a huge correlation that they talk about in nutrition, and they say, you crave what you can't digest. So a lot of people that are like, oh, if I open a bag of chips, I'm going to eat the whole thing. Or if I eat one cookie, I can't do it. I got to eat the whole roll of cookies or something. So a sweet tooth is a lot of people that, crave those carbohydrates. But if you keep going back, it's because your body's not processing carbohydrates properly. And if you have a salty tooth, it's probably more likely that your body's having difficulty processing proteins and fats. So this is where the implementation of making sure you're digesting your foods, which at our office, we use digestive enzymes. You want to make sure your body's getting those nutrients the right way.
You know who I blame? I blame Lay's potato chips. They literally are testing you. They're like, but you can't just eat one. Well, yeah, man, I'm a competitive person. I'm going to have to eat more than one. So it's their fault.
Same thing with Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. There you go.
They know psychology, sales, marketing. All right. So now I know you do a specialized test in your office called the food inflammation test. Can you tell us more about it? Because I'm dying to do it myself, please.
It's really awesome. I know there's a lot of inflammation or sensitivity tests out there, Iman John, and you buy them from the store, you buy them online. They tell you, oh, we're going to do this stuff. The reason that I carried this specific test in my office, because the research was behind it. It tests your blood against 132 different types of foods. And unlike most tests, which only look at 2 components, this one actually looks at the C-reactive proteins in your blood. So it's highly sensitive to 132 different types of foods, and it categorizes them from severe, high, moderate, mild, and no reaction. So even foods that are so-called healthy for you, your body may have problems with them, and it's causing inflammation and sensitivity issues for you, which is not allowing your body to absorb other nutrients. So it's really cool. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't eat, I don't know, just pick one, salmon, or I can't eat pineapple, and I heard those are good for you. I'm like, yeah, but not for you. So take those out of your diet, and they all of a sudden start to have more energy. They start to lose weight. They're able to keep better adjustments if they're seeing me in the office. It's phenomenal. So that's just something we provide to our patients. And if anybody's interested, we can actually ship the kit to you too. So it doesn't have to just be in the South Florida area. These are easy. I can ship it to you. I can be on the phone with you, tell you how to do it. And then you could send the results to the laboratory, and then we'll go over them together.
What do you do? Like, how do you? Is it like a swab or something? Like,
no, it's actually a finger prick blood test. So you actually would prick your own finger, and then you would kind of fill up like where you need to do it. But it's very, very easy to do it at home. I just do it in my office. People are like, I don't want to see blood, so they turn away, and I'll do it for them.
Remind me next week when I come for my next session. Let's do it on IG Live or IG Story. We'll do it. And then we'll do the follow-up, and you can kind of go through like my results, as long as it's not too embarrassing,
No problem.
It's just going to be like, you're fat. Thanks.
Listen, it makes you feel any better. I did it for my mom, and my mom said, if this thing says that I am sensitive to chocolate, you're disowned as a child. So she's like,
yeah, just like milk, and I'm lactose intolerant, I'm still having that stuff. So it's like information of things that I shouldn't be having, but I will continue to have. Thank you, doctor.
No problem.
Sam, in closing, as you know, it's International Women's Day. I'd love for you to kind of share with us, some women that inspire you. Would love to hear from it.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, being obviously we're in the midst of this revolution. I mean, I've never been more proud. I grew up very proud of my Persian heritage, being Iranian, being an Iranian-American first generation. But to see the women in Iran, the first women-led revolution, you have to start there. I'm so happy and pleased that Time Magazine recognized these women. They are truly the essence of what a woman should stand for: strong, independent, charismatic, brave. I mean, in the face of danger, I mean, putting their lives on the line. And then, of course, it just looks at it, and we look at our own community, the Uniters. You know, I could go through the list of all the women. I know we don't have time, but Sarah, Katayu, and Amagan, Nazli, Mona, Irman, Nikki, I could go on, and I have a list of all the girls right here. All of you are amazing. You inspire me. You inspire Iman. You inspire all of us to be better. And, of course, the Shirzad that's been like the queen for me is my mom. I mean, my mother, and I have this picture in my office. That's my mommy and my dad. And, you know, she's always been there for me. She's been my support number one, whether it was on the soccer field, cheering me on, or at the science fair, or always, you know, has been my rock and believed in me from day one. Never wanted anything but the best for me, and continues to be my number one fan. And so I love her, and I love what she represents, is what a true, strong Iranian woman is, just like your mother, Iman Jan. I love her to death too. And to all the women out there, we want to thank you for being a representation of what, you know, giving us a representation. Sometimes the men lose focus, but women are such strong individuals. You really do set the bar very high for us.
Keep us in check. That's what they do.
They do very much so.
I can't wait to see your mom next Saturday at Bakhcha on March 18th here in Miami Beach. Looking forward to meeting her and thanking her for raising an Iranian man that I get to have as a fellow soldier in this war together. Really appreciate your friendship, Sam, and supporting what I've been doing at Unite and Conquer since even before the revolution. And I'm always rooting for you, man. You work extremely hard, kind person, always there for anybody that needs anything, you know. So continue being who you are, man. Big things are ahead of you, and we're going to be right there with you, celebrating, enjoying all of your success as you continue to positively impact the health and well-being of so many people in our community. Much love to you, man.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do, Iman Jan. This is amazing. And for anybody who's tuning in, please spread the word, guys. We need more people viewing. This is what we need. And it's just information that, you know, share the knowledge, and knowledge is power. So appreciate everything you do, Iman Jan.
I got the power. All right, good night.
There you go.
Shab
I'm gonna start dancing.
Shab bakar. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the program thus far. It's about the time to welcome the special guest of honor this evening. I'm going to wait for her to request to join, but while we're doing that, if you're enjoying the program, drop a word. And Monajun, I know you forgot to give a shout out to your incredible sister, another Shirzad, Mariam. I'll go ahead and give a shout out to her on your behalf. I know how amazing she is, always supporting us, always sharing our content. On that note, while I wait for Aava to join, if you haven't yet, please follow the @Let's Unite and Conquer Instagram. Go to the YouTube channel, Unite and Conquer. Punch that subscribe now button. Join the family. Join the community. Help us continue to keep the conversation about Iran alive and just things that have to do to preserve our music, our culture, our arts. We have to unify. We have to strengthen. We have to uplift each other. You cannot break down people. You got to bring them up. Let's lift each other up. And I see that Aava June is right around the corner. There she is. But let me just give a little background about her. For those who don't know, Aava Dekordi is a first-generation Iranian-American Baha'i. Shout out to all the Baha'is. We have so many of them in our Uniters group. Incredible human beings. Having grown up with parents who escaped Iran to avoid religious persecution, Aava has dedicated her life to advocating for a free Iran. She has worked for the United States Congress, political think tanks focused on promoting democracy in Iran, and led a 15,000-person protest against a travel ban in front of the White House, my hometown of DC. In her free time, she creates social media content to spread awareness about the current woman life freedom revolution. Let's help me welcome Aava Dekordi, better known as Aava for President on Instagram. And I was saying it earlier, if she's running for president, she's got my vote. She's been devoting so much of her free time to a free Iran. Hi, Aava June.
Hi, Iman June. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Much better now that you're here joining us. It's such a pleasure to virtually meet you after months of following your content and briefly having conversations here and there.
I know, likewise. I feel like I'm just chatting with a friend I've met before.
Love it.
Say congratulations, if I'm not mistaken. This is your 10th show.
Yes.
It takes a lot of commitment and dedication to putting this on 10 weeks in a row, and we really need English resources and information going out about the revolution happening. And so thank you for putting on 10 of these now.
For sure. Thank you. We're waiting for a 10 out of 10 for our 10th episode. So we appreciate you being here. And, you know, I think anybody that has been following your content for the last few months, I mean, is probably wondering what type of, how many hours you have in your schedule that we don't seem to have, where you've just been nonstop 24/7. It's been really inspiring. I mean, like, I feel like I'm in a little healthy competition with you. And I'm like, if all of us continue to post, I can't sleep. I got to do it. So on behalf of many, many Iranians around the world, I just want to start off by thanking you truly for the commitment, the emotional stress and sacrifice, the mental sacrifice, the physical sacrifice, all of that while you were getting almost married. You know, like, there's so much going on in your personal life, beautiful pictures of you and your fiance. And so basically, I know the sacrifices you're making, and many, 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 many Iranians are grateful for you choosing to devote so much of your time. So thank you for that. And let's get started. Okay. So let's talk about women's rights and Baha'i faith. That's the main topic here. Just get started. Go ahead and let's talk about things you want to talk about that was important to you.
Let's do it. I want to take a second. Thank you for the kind words. You're right. A lot of sacrifice goes into it. And I've been thinking a lot about International Women's Day and what it took for us to get here, where there's a day recognized around the world for women. And you were asking the guest before, who is a woman that inspires you? And I've just been thinking so much about who has come before us. And I think about Nika Shah Karami and Sarina Ismailizadeh, who are teenage girls. And if you look at the videos of them before they were murdered by the regime, they were so confident in who they are, and they had such a clear vision of the life they want to live. A life in a free country, a life where they are equal to men, a life where they can prosper. And when I was a teenage girl, I was not thinking about that but now I am. And that's when I can put in the sacrifice and put in the time to make this content. But I just look at these 16-year-old girls, these teenagers who have a clear vision of the life that they want, and they are leading this revolution, and they are the people who will come before the next generation. And so I'm so inspired by that, and that is why I am here today. And let's get into women's rights and the Baha'i faith, because I think it is so crucial to what is going on right now on the ground in Iran. I hope we all know by now that over 1,000 schoolgirls have been poisoned in Iran across various cities in the country. And I keep thinking to myself, why? Why? Why would anyone go after one of the most vulnerable populations, young girls who are going to school? What would you get out of hurting them, making them scared? And I thought back to when I was in Sunday school growing up, going to Sunday school, learning about the Baha'i writings. And one of the principal foundations of the Baha'i faith is that men and women are equal. There's this metaphor that humanity is a bird, and men and women are each one wing of the bird. And if you don't have one wing, the bird can't fly, so humanity won't prosper. And this foundation is based on, basically, we need to respect and nurture and educate women. Why is that? Because educating women and respecting them and nurturing them, treating them as the most precious things on earth, will lead to world peace. When we think about that, well, how does educating women, how does sending them to school, how does making sure that they have the same opportunity to learn and grow as a man lead to world peace? I mean, that seems like a long shot, right? But when you really zoom out, or I guess zoom in, you see women are the first teachers of all human beings. We are the original teachers, the pioneers of everything we do in life. Not just in terms of raising our children, but the way that we interact with our spouses interact with us. Our younger generations are picking up on these cues. And so investing resources and really putting the effort behind educating women has greater effects beyond just that one woman's life of going to school and getting a degree and having a good job. It will eventually lead to world peace. And educating women is truly the key in liberating them from all constraints that are placed upon them.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And actually, like on a little sidebar, last week, one of our uniters, her and her husband, and gave me the great pleasure of inviting them to an event that they host every month at their home, where it's basically about the Baha'i faith and teaching. So I went with my mom, my sister. The topic was life after death. And I had just recently, my dad passed away. So the topic was very like pertinent to me and my mom and my sister. And I'm just fascinated by the Baha'i faith. And like, you're absolutely right. I mean, like, women are the absolute nurturers of our world, you know? And so it's very natural for the Islamic Republic to want to belittle them and crush them and suppress them because they fear them. They fear about the greatness that they can bring to a society and community and the country and the world. And you so eloquently just kind of like broke it down right now, which was amazing. So love it. So you were mentioning how they say if parents can only afford or are forced to choose to send one of their kids to school, they should always pick the girl. That's what you messaged me about. Can you elaborate about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So one thing that I think is just phenomenal and like very modern for a religion is that they say in the Baha'i writings, if it's a matter of resources, if parents have to choose which one of their kids to send to school, they can't afford it, whatever the circumstances are, they should always pick to educate their women, their girls, their daughters, over their sons, over anyone that they're looking after that might be a boy. It should always be the girl that is given precedence to be educated. And that all goes back to women are the original teachers. Women will raise the future sons and the future daughters, and educating women is truly a tool to their freedom. And I've never been more sure of that until these poisonings, because the Islamic Republic of Iran is certain of it too. That if women who are leading this revolution continue to be educated, they will liberate the entire country and then the entire world.
And that's a major reason why the Islamic Republic hates the Baha'is. And I hate to use that word hate, but it's a strong word that is unfortunately true. Why they've been so heavily persecuted for all these years. It's because they're like public enemy number one. And what's crazy is that the people that are public enemy number one are truly the people that have the foundational blocks of almost a utopia, you know, like a utopia on earth, you know. And some people don't even know. Well, I just learned last week that it truly is a modern faith. It's less than 200 years old, you know. So, you know, like there's evolution of humanity and just people, and you know, there's some people that are still practicing things from a few thousand years ago, which is all great, but we evolve, society evolves. And so for those who don't know, Baha'i is about 250 years old, I believe. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. Right?
I think, oh my goodness, this is where my history comes. My history could use some work. I think 250 years or 150.
Probably is 150. I'll go with your gut and say.
Or it could be, yes, I think 150 years. It's very new. And I'm glad you bring that up, because the thing about the Baha'i faith that is so awesome, I think, is that there's this concept, I think it's called progressive revelation, where basically every prophet, if you look at all the religions, you look at Muhammad, you look at Moses, Jesus, just all the prophets, Baha'u'llah, they all have come and revealed themselves as messengers of God every 1,000 years or so. And if you look at the writings of that religion, it's basically the religion before, but a little more modern, a little more updated, and something that makes sense for the time that the religion was created. And so that's the whole idea of the Baha'i faith, is that right now it's a religion that takes all the religions that have come before and just made it more modern. And so technically, if you ask me, like, am I a Christian? Yes, I am. Do I believe in Jesus? Absolutely. Am I Jewish? Yes, I am. Do I believe in all the religions before? 100%. And another cool thing about the faith is that they say when the next prophet comes, which inevitably will, you must believe in that new message of the day, which I think is just awesome. And again, everything that goes against what the Islamic Republic believes in.
Yeah. Anything progressive and modern. By the way, I've learned there's one great blessing that has happened in the revolution. Well, many, but I've come across so many more Baha'is. Like, I've always loved Baha'is and Zoroastrians. There was just always something about them, but I realized I'm surrounded with so many of them. But what you all need to do is really get the numbers straight, because I see 179, 178, 181. I gotta do something Baha'i. If you guys can please agree on 1 year, that'd be wonderful. But either way, I was wrong. It wasn't 250. But it's very modern. That's the take-home message. Let's kind of tie all of this that we just talked about with the unfortunate school poisonings, targeting, of course, the young Iranian girls. Touch on that, please.
Absolutely. So I've been thinking about, again, why is the regime doing this to girls? What is the benefit to them? This is the first time in history we're seeing young girls, preteens, teenagers, standing on trash cans, waving a hijab, burning it, and basically saying to the regime, I will not bend the knee to you anymore. Give me liberty or give me death. That's what keeps ringing in the back of my mind. And I remember learning about this when I was a schoolgirl. Give me liberty or give me death. That's something they talk about in America. And I was like, what could ever possess you to want to die? What could ever be that bad? And I think these preteen girls and these teenage girls are experiencing something so bad that they'd rather die than to keep living in that condition. And the regime knows that they're willing to give up everything, their last breath, for freedom. So they need to punish the girls, and they need to scare them and do whatever it takes to keep them at home. Again, the reports are unconfirmed. No one can prove the regime is the one poisoning the girls.
But we all know.
Who would have the resources to launch a chemical warfare attack on citizens? Who else could possibly do that?
No, for sure. There's no doubt about that part. Aava, first of all, it's been great talking to you. I mean, I'm so grateful we had this opportunity, and I feel like when I have a long-form podcast, we're going to have a great conversation. I do want to give you the opportunity to share a few women that have inspired you, considering it is International Women's Day. So you touched on it in the beginning, but if there are specific individuals that you'd like to give a shout out to, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you. You know, I've brought up Nika Shawkarami and Serena Smileyzada a lot. They truly inspire me. I think they're going to inspire millions and millions of people for hundreds of years to come. But in my personal life, honestly, my mom inspires me. She was born in Iran, pre-Islamic Republic, as a Baha'i. And when she was just a little girl, I think she was 6 or 7 years old, the revolution happened. Everything changed. Suddenly existing as who she was as a human being was a crime that could get her killed. Going to school was out of the question. Just being able to live and breathe comfortably was not an option anymore at 6, 7 years old. Having gone through that, the war, constantly having to just live in secrecy, she escaped Iran in a horrible way with my grandfather, her dad, had to live as a refugee in Pakistan at 17 years old. I can't even imagine. She had me at 21. I mean, at 21 years old, I was like playing those like soccer games in the big bubbles, you know what I mean? And she was raising a child. And, you know, grew up in America as a mom, couldn't speak the language, became a business owner, is crushing it, is a homeowner. I mean, she is just living the American dream, and I look up to her so much, and it's because of her and her sacrifices I was able to go to college and get a master's degree and just thrive and live the life that she had robbed from her.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that she's proud of everything that you've done. You've made her proud, and you are the product of a Shirzan. So kudos to you for everything you're doing. Thank you so much for sharing your mom's journey, sending her a lot of love, because I just know that it was a turbulent journey for her, as it was for so many of our moms and dads and grandparents. And that's really why we're doing all of this, you know, like we owe it to every single one of them. We owe it to all of them for the challenges that they went through, so that they get to see and experience and enjoy free Iran and the crushing of this regime that has caused us more than 4 decades of trauma, So much love, Awajun. Again, thank you so much. I wish I could even talk more with you, but we greatly appreciate you and can't wait to see you continue doing what you do best. Continue to use our energy that we're sending you to continue doing great things for our revolution. So much love to you. Shabbat Bekher, Be'omide Azadi.
Thank you so much, Iman Jun. Zan Zandagi Azadi.
Zan Zandagi Azadi. Shabbat Bekher. Ciao. Oh, wow. That was awesome. What a pleasure to have Aava Jun here. Want to give you all thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Aava. She's more of a content creator, so you don't usually see her voice and her face. So hopefully it was great to get to know her on a different level. As you can imagine, she is as badass and awesome as you would expect somebody like her. So kudos to her. I have some final words for all of you. And that is, I'd like to take a moment and thank my mother and my sister and my girlfriend Army for being an inspiration to me. Definitely having such incredibly strong, intelligent, loving, kind females around me are what keep me on my toes, what keep me energized and keep me fighting this fight. Because for me, all the women inside of Iran, all the girls of Iran are the same as my girlfriend, mother, and sister. And so I just put myself in the shoes of their brothers in Iran, their fathers, their boyfriends, and their sons. And I'm doing what I would be doing if they were my family members. And I think everybody should be doing that to the best of their ability. So shout out to them. And once again, to all the female producers of Countdown and the females of Uniters family, I'm so grateful for all of you. You are truly, imagine like a boxer in the corner of a ring, and you are my coaches, you are my fans, you are my supporters, you're my medical staff, you are my psychologist, you are my my trainer, you are my my friends, you're my brothers, you're my sisters. And I'm just so thankful for all of you. And we've done 10 episodes now. And I just believe that we got to continue with this path. We got to keep on doing exactly what we're doing right now. And that is create more content, have more conversations like this, continue to highlight, showcase, spotlight incredible women and men such as Aava, and just somehow figure out how to keep the torch alive, somehow figure out how to get more people to watch. I don't know what it is, but I just know that we have something special, and the people that tune in every single week, we got to figure it out. We got to figure out how to make bigger noise. It's great what we're doing, and it's great to see you all, but we have to really figure out. I really want to do this like on a nightly basis. I hate the fact that 6 days go by between one episode or another, and it's a lot of work. I totally understand it, but I really want to get myself in a position where I can afford to be able to do this on a nightly basis. So if anybody has any suggestions, thoughts, connections, ideas, I can't think of anything else that I want to do than Countdown every single night. And that freaks out a lot of the producers because they know how much work it is. But I really that's literally my life's goal, is to figure out how to do this every single night. Because if this show is really true to its words, Countdown to Freedom in Iran, that means that we should be spending every single moment to actually reaching the finish line. You know, I don't want to be doing Countdown to Freedom in Iran in 7 years. I want this to come to an end. The happiest day is not episode number 100 of Countdown. The happiest day is where I can say this is the last day of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. Because at that point, we're celebrating a free Iran. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for listening, watching, tuning in. Please follow, subscribe, do all the things that you know that you could do to help grow Countdown. Give feedback, be honest, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us who you want as a next guest. Speaking of which, next Wednesday, Lisa Daftari, award-winning journalist. I don't know if she's award-winning, but to me, I know she's award-winning. She's great. She's amazing. On the 22nd, we got Chelsea Hart. So the guests keep on coming. More badass guests, more badass people doing awesome shit to make sure that Iran becomes free. So we got to get louder, guys. We got to get freaking louder. No doubt about it. If you're in Miami, Saturday, March 18th, Bakhche at Platform, please join us. Less than 10 tickets remain. For those of you who bought tickets, appreciate you. Persian food, sabzi polo mahi, Persian music, Persian treats, a lot of Persian goodies. We got raffles. We got speeches by Sara Kazemi, Mona Haghighi. My mom's doing Persian poetry. Hambastagi Badjo, Shalo Kosari. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of the program. Signs are us. One of the major donations, once again, supporting Unite and Conquer by being a sponsor of the March 18th Bakhcha. We got raffles. Labushak.com is providing a few amazing Labushak boxes. A lot of great stuff happening. Basically, if you're in South Florida and if you're not a Bakhcha, you're missing out. That's all I got to say. It's going to be a great night. موضوع خودتون باشین. با امید آزادی. Love you guys. Woman, life, freedom. زن، زندگی، آزادی. Happy International Women's Day.